make up for all those times.
Bradford, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, you two. We really appreciate it.
It may surprise you, I have thoughts about this.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Katie?
Love
what are
your thoughts. Is this a good idea?
I'm just on...
Done it twice before, and they've had
Easy.
some pretty weird leaders previously.
They won't need 4% if they get a deal, though.
No, that's right.
No,
So-
they won't. But imagine if they got 3 or 4%. That's a large number of seats.
Really careful, though, anytime I think you get those sort of conservative we have sitting back when I look at religious parties, rightly or wrongly. So, look,
The other thing is that this election, we're going in with a whole lot of issues. The euthanasia is obviously a massive issue. Debate's going to get really fiery very soon.
These are all conscience votes, though, aren't they?
Yes, of course they're conscience votes, but they still see it still look...
you know, see, I look at the Brian Tamakis of this world with a lot of hate speech. I look at the Israel Folau thing.
Yeah.
Is it times?
And that's a good point, because what you might pick up from the Christian rump, the conservative Christian rump, 3 or 4%, which is, and maybe more than 4%, you also have an...
If you've got a Christian partner, coalition partner, they can take all of that very conservative ideology, and National can actually move more towards the middle, so they don't have to do that.
That's a very good point, unless we forget we have New Zealand First in a coalition with the Greens and Labour at the moment, and New Zealand First are a super conservative party.
Yeah. Let's talk about, we'll continue this talk about Christian values and talk about Israel Folau. The talk on the street is that he wanted to walk anyway. Mark Watson, have you heard anything about this?
Oh, look, I think that's...
By Alfred Nato when he was talking about abortion. And Simon Bridges responded very firmly that Alfred Nato had the right to freedom of speech. So where do we draw the line in the continuum between what Mark's saying about Israel Folau and what Simon Bridges was saying about Alfred Nato?
And this is a debate we're having in many ways in the wake of Christchurch as well, about how do you police freedom of speech? Should you police it? Where is the...
Yeah, look, John, I think you're representing Australia, and when you're representing Australia, you're representing all of Australia. You know,
if you start policing free speech and nobody is saying things that they may be thinking but keeping it inside and maybe talking to their friends, then we don't get the opportunity to discuss how bad it is.
And you need to have radicals, don't you? You need to have...
Yeah, that's right.
You need to have the extreme right, you need to have the extreme left. You've got to have discussion.
And if you try and police this too much, you get a situation like we've got with Trump and with Brexit, and now with... And we saw in the Australian election campaign a lot of use of some nasty campaign tactics, a lot of fake news. There were big issues there as well.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because Scott Morrison gets called ScoMo like he's one of the boys, but actually he ran a pretty dirty campaign. Well, his strategists did, didn't they?
Yeah. And they, I mean, what you have in Australia, and I know, and what's going on in Queensland is very different from Central Victoria, and people believed that what was happening in Central Victoria was what was...
I think the big concern in all of this is particularly for the environmentalists, because Labor played very much on emissions, didn't they, and global warming, and suddenly Australia turned around and said, yeah, we're all for that.
But not here, mate.
But not right here. Not when we've got an economy on the cusp and on the brink of potentially falling over. But at the same...
There's quite a lot to the global greenhouse gas emissions, don't they, with their mining and...
Fossil fuels.
Well, and that's what the whole issue is in Queensland with wanting a new coal mine. I mean, that's where that's about. People up there are worried about jobs. And, I mean, there's a big question to ask about what's going on with polling in Australia, because those polls for 3 years... I mean, it was Bill Shorten's to lose at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. I was still saying to people, this is Bill Shorten's election, and then...
But we've had that here with our elections. We had it with Brexit. We had it with Trump.
As Simon Bridges said, quoting Jim Bolger in 1993, bugger the pollsters. Katie Bradford and Mark Watson, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was a great couch. Thank you both so much.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate you coming
just quickly, I just wanted to say that,
If I've made a contribution.
Okay, made a contribution.
Thanks so much.